ladies and gentlemen, I know you see me and think, how on earth does Mileena get so much done? And how on earth is Mileena so good at everything she does? And how on earth does she stay motivated? How on earth does she find her way to be humble as well and feel really good about everyone? How on earth does she do all that? Well, for me, I like to challenge myself, right? Like I know I'm one of the best. I mean, there's other people that are good. For sure, I'm not the best. I'm pretty close to it though, right? Right? I know I'm one of the best, but for me, it's not enough to be, complacent, right? Like I want to challenge myself. I want to be someone that works towards goals. I always like to challenge myself. So, you might be thinking, well, when you challenge yourself, do you think, you've got it made, you've got all these things going on, and you're like the be all end all? And I mean, yes, I'm very, very good. And of course, not being famous does have an effect with that as well, right? Because you might think, well, I'm really, really good, I should be famous, etc., etc., etc. And I think that too, but it does have, I mean, I think if I was really, really famous, I may not feel like, I mean, it would change things, right? But I don't know how necessarily, but it would change things. But for me, I like to challenge myself. I really like to see myself doing more and more and more. Now, I do find that it's really fun to do videos, so I get really into it and really enjoy myself. So you might think that this is, challenging and difficult and all the things that come along with making content that is revolutionary and exciting and new. But for me, it's just like I really feel like um, I really feel it's fun. Like, I'm always at my best personality, at my best looks when I'm doing my videos. Well, of course, I look good all the time, and my personality is good all the time. But I find that when I see myself perform, when I do things, that's when I know I'm in my element, right? Like I know when I'm in my element. And you may be surprised that sometimes I feel like I'm better than everyone, but there's some times where there's a bit of doubt. And I'm not better than everyone really, but I match the top people, and sometimes there's a bit of doubt. And it's not necessarily uh, it's not really doubt necessarily. It's not doubt. It's more like when you're not famous, there's that hint of like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? Even though I can see that I'm good enough, comparing myself to the biggest celebrities, I already know I'm good enough. But there is that sort of like, you're not famous. What is it? What is it that you need to get there? But you have to remember these people that are famous have spent a lot of time making videos. They've been making them for years and years and years. Some of them. Some people are lucky. They might have their first year and they're already famous or they're already a top YouTuber. And that's good for them, of course. That's really great, right? And some people do have that ability. They are able to capture the audience's full scope and the audience's full approval right away, and they get notoriety and all this right away. And remember, YouTubers are of all different walks of life. So we have people that are of all different types of personalities, all different types of looks, and some people just automatically get famous right away, and you're like shocked. Of course, you're like, this is crazy. Um, and then there are some people that take a lot more time. Like even someone like Lady Gaga, who mentions many times that she worked very, very hard and she didn't get the easy way out. It was not easy for her. Um, it was not easy for her to make it in the industry. She got rejected lots. She starved herself. She did blood. She worked through blood, sweat, and tears just to get where she is today. And it's kind of like, and she didn't take no for an answer, right? So, when you see people like Lady Gaga saying this, and it's different when you're experiencing it, right? Like I'm experiencing becoming famous right now. Like this is me slowly emerging, very slowly, because I'm a small channel, but I do feel I'm going to be famous one day. Um, So you see yourself slowly emerging, and you kind of think, when will that, rush of like on set subscribers automatically come in? When will that rush of subscribers come in? And sometimes it takes a matter of an hour to be famous. And some people maybe put their first video out. They only have one video out, and they become famous. So it's not really something you can really know your journey. You're not going to know exactly how you're going to get there. And for me, I've always, you know, seeing my family and knowing how good we are at everything. Some of us have different skills and different things, but seeing how good we are in everything, it kind of makes sense to me that I'm going to be famous, for sure. Like, I'm for sure going to be famous. Um, and people might say to me, well, how can you think you're going to be famous if you've got like 1,000 subscribers? Yes, that's a small amount. Yes, that's not a huge amount. And yes, I've earned every one because I'm a very hard worker. Yes, it's a small amount, and it's not that small, but it's not like huge or anything. Yes, it's not a huge amount, but it's something that I really strongly believe that I'm, it's like when you, a lot of times, I mean, growing up, I had seen people that said about alternative celebrities. So people that sang alternative music and did alternative music, and they would be like, they would like them only when, well, this is happens with people that I know actually. They like them only when they're not famous. And so when they're famous, they think they sold out, which, I mean, I'm sure they're not really that, like, I'm sure they don't, like, that's not a big deal to them or anything. They just think they sell out. But I mean, how would one go from the alternative music genre to being someone that's really, really famous, right? So you have someone that is in the alternative music industry, and then they become really, really famous. And I mean, obviously, I mean, well, it's a close person to me, so that person is close to me. So, I mean, they probably just say it for fun. I mean, it's not really a big deal. But that the point is um, that if you have someone that is trying to be famous, yes, of course, they go through the period where they're not famous. Everyone goes through that period, and it's like well, if you're not famous, how else are you going to be famous unless you go through that period? But it's not like it's set in stone what your journey is. It's not like you can decide where you'll be. People might be saying to me, they might be like, well, how do you know you're going to be famous? How do you really know? Like, it's not like, it really isn't something that you know, right? Like, I mean, people are like, well, you have 1,000, I guess I have 1,075 subscribers, 76 subscribers. So people are like, well, how would you know you're going to be famous with 1,075, 76 subscribers? Well, I mean, for me, it's something that I really, you can see the sign, right? You know the sign. So being on America's Got Talent, auditioning, even just being told you're good enough to audition, and not necessarily making the audition or anything. I'm not sure if I will make it, but making the audition, you have a sense. And I've been extras in movies, and I've done different things, and they wanted me to be a featured member and all this stuff. So, like, I mean, you can just sort of tell, right? Like, you just know. Um, and I was like entering a modeling competition, and I almost won. I was so close. I was like the one just before the winner. So I mean, like, like, I mean, you get a sense, and you're like, yes, you just know. But and the thing is, when you're second place, or you've attempted to try and you didn't make it, or you tried and you almost got in, or eventually when you try that many times and you keep trying and you don't take no for an answer, then you're gonna make it, right? I mean, it's obvious. But I mean, the thing is, I mean, for me, I'm just, and yes, for me, I like to challenge myself. I really like to say, it's something that I work towards. And I mean, for me, it's not something that I really, spend a lot of time thinking, oh, I gotta challenge myself, I gotta do a lot of videos, and I gotta do this and that, and I gotta be this way and that way. I mean, of course, I think about that, but I more think about um, I more think about how I'm going to do something I enjoy. I mean, for me, this is really enjoyable. I really enjoy myself. Um, when performing, I really, really enjoy myself. Like, it's so much fun. I love it. So for me, it's mostly the enjoyment. I mean, Madonna once said that the reason why she performs is for the love of performing. And she's going to keep going and going and going because she loves it, you know? We have that with Madonna. Everyone said we want her to continue. She's so good. We really love her stuff. She's amazing. She inspires. She does this and that. But for her, it's like she just enjoys it, you know, and it's obvious. I mean, well, maybe it's not totally obvious, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad she enjoys it, you know. Some people get into music or get into entertainment and they do very, very well, but they don't enjoy it. So, you know, at that point, you're like, well, what is, you know, they don't enjoy it. Well, then they're gonna stop eventually, or they're not gonna be someone um, that we kind of see in the future or whatever. And so, you know, it's kind of like, well, you know, you want someone to enjoy themselves, especially if they're good, you know. Like for me, I grew up with Madonna around, and I mean, for me, I got to see all her stages and everything. And for me, it's kind of like nice to see that when you are, and then now I'm totally inspired because she's been like such an inspiration. And then seeing Lady Gaga, and then whoever's up next in the Britney Spears, Katy Perry, Rihanna, seeing all those girls and seeing all the people, even guys too. You know, like some people are really really good. So seeing these people in growing up, and you learn, and it's almost like being in training, but you don't really realize. But yeah, so you kind of think, well, how am I going to manifest their creativity when I perform? How am I going to deliver something that is unbelievably amazing? How am I going to deliver something that is inspiring? And you know, when you see someone like Madonna, you kind of think, well, we don't want her to go. Like, we need her, kind of thing. You know, I mean, for me, I love her performing. I think it's inspired me so many years. You know, and so when you see someone like that, I feel I'm the same way. I mean, not on a much smaller scale, but I see myself in the same way. I do see that people will be like, actually, one guy, actually, the reason why is because one guy said to me on YouTube, he gave me a comment and he gave me a message me. He's like, thank you for existing. You know, we need people like you. You know, and it's like, it's true when we see a performer that we love, we don't want them to go. We love them. They're so amazing. And so, you know, when we see that, we're like, oh wow, that's awesome, you know, and it's so nice. And you know, for me, I just enjoy the performing, and I really do feel like I'm much happier while I'm performing. Like I can go through my day and just go through all these things and just be like, oh my goodness, what's going on? What's this now? You know. And then when I'm performing, I really feel I'm in my element. I really feel that I'm super, super happy, and I really feel that I'm doing really well. And for me, it's something that I really, you know, resonate with, and sort of like, you know, it's almost like you know you're a good fit. Now, there's a fan of mine on here that messaged and said, she's like, she messaged on YouTube to me and said, how can you not be famous? And then she's talking about how she's on a video of mine with 3 views, and I have other videos with lots of views, but she's like mentioning, how can you not be famous? And it's true. I don't see how I'm not famous, or how I don't see how I'm not, yeah, how I'm not famous, because I'm like, well, I'm so so good, but you know, like Jeffrey. Okay, can I give you an example? Jeffree Star, when he first started out, what or she, I don't know if it goes by she or he, but Jeffree Star, when Jeffree Star first started out, was so so good, right? But nobody really saw that until when he was famous, and they're like, oh yeah, and you know, I mean, people saw that and they probably thought the same thing. They're like, how can you not be famous? This video has, you know, 3 views on it, and you know, when you see someone like Jeffree Star now, you're like, that's crazy, you know. And I mean, it's obvious, right? Like if you have to start from somewhere, everybody starts from the bottom and works their way up. But I mean, for me, I just really feel this is what my job is going to be, and I'm really happy. And it really is a nice feeling. Alright, guys, click that subscribe. Bye now. Thank you. Alright, bye.